Baltimore Ravens starting quarterback Lamar Jackson has been on an absolute tear to start off the first few weeks of the 2022 NFL season. Former MVP Lamar Jackson so far has over 740 passing yards, 10 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions, completing over 63% of his passes. On top of all that, we know he's elite in the running game, 243 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. This dude literally has more touchdowns than I believe 20 of the teams in the NFL do total. It is nuts what Lamar Jackson's accomplishing in the first few weeks of the season. He's leading this team, and he's leading it by passing the ball, something that everybody and their mother has apparently criticized Lamar Jackson for because they never saw him play in the 2019 season and lead the NFL in passing touchdowns. But people don't like to talk about that because it doesn't fit their narrative. Whatever. Either way, Lamar Jackson is a guy who's playing football out of his mind right now. He's the best player on the planet right now, and you're seeing why the people consider him a top, not only one of, but the top player and the top quarterback in the NFL in a lot of people's eyes. It's because he's able to do things that are unimaginable for a lot of other quarterbacks, just with buying time with his legs and just the speed and agility of which he runs with. On top of all that, having the elite ability to pass the ball, the vision downfield. It's gotten so prime this year, and it just seems like he's gotten back to that 2019 2020 form of being one of the key guys in the entire NFL, being one of the best players on the planet. Now, of course, with that comes the question of what is his future, and most notably, what is his future in Baltimore? We know that the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson have gone back and forth about a contract over the last few months. Lamar Jackson put a deadline of the start of the season as that's when he's going to kind of take a step back from negotiations and focus on football. He got a lot of flack for it in the media. People said he shouldn't play without a contract, and I think there's some good faith arguments for that, some bad faith arguments for that. Regardless, Lamar Jackson is a guy who won a unanimous MVP, a guy who has led the league in touchdown passes, a guy who has led this team to more wins, who's led this team to more wins than most other quarterbacks can say. This dude has gone out there, balled out, revolutionized the game, and we're still sitting here talking about whether or not Lamar Jackson deserves to be the highest paid quarterback, highest paid player in the NFL. And to that I say, pay the man. As a Ravens fan, I can 100% guarantee you, if the Ravens don't pay this man and are too cheap to pay Lamar Jackson and just want to offer him $150 million guaranteed and let this guy 1-2 years from now leave, because we'll franchise him. It's going to be a $50 million tag, but we'll franchise him. And then after 2 years, you can't franchise him. So what's he going to do? He's going to walk and go to Miami, go to wherever he wants to, and get paid by somebody to play football there. The Baltimore Ravens, I have some very critical advice for you right now. Pay the man. And I know people want to say, well, that's a lot of money for one guy. That's a lot of, you don't want to invest in that. What if he gets hurt? What if anybody gets hurt? What if Pat Mahomes gets hurt? We don't talk about that, right? What if Tom Brady gets hurt? What if Aaron Rodgers, I almost said Drew Brees, but Derek Carr, what if Justin Herbert, who is hurt? What if all those guys get hurt? We only talk about the what if he gets hurt when it's Lamar Jackson because he runs the ball and he's a running quarterback. No, Lamar Jackson is proving exactly what he is. He's an elite passer of the football. He is an elite runner, but he focuses on the passing, and that is the most critical thing to get here. Lamar Jackson this year is proving exactly why he won that unanimous MVP, proving exactly why he was a first-round pick in 2018. He's proving exactly why the Ravens were right to pick him and build around him as a successor and honestly, just a way better quarterback than Joe Flacco ever was. God bless Joe Flacco. But let's be real. Now, we're coming to this, right? And there's a talk about Lamar Jackson, like, oh, he's representing himself, and that might not be the smartest thing, and all that. I'm like, I actually think it's a little empowering for a player to represent themselves in these endeavors, because nobody's going to have more confidence in you than yourself. Nobody's going to bet on you more than yourself. Nobody is going to appreciate you more than yourself. And I think it's a good thing. Now, does that mean Lamar Jackson doesn't? I'm sure he has some confidants, some advisors at some certain stages. He definitely has somebody or some people who he's talking to and running these things by, right? At the same time, though, none of that matters, because at the end of the day, the Ravens should offer Lamar Jackson the bank and then some. It's just what the market is. We can have a discussion about whether or not quarterbacks deserve the amount of money they deserve, and whether or not athletes in general deserve the amount of money they get. But that's separate. That's a separate issue, and I think there's actually good faith arguments on both sides there. However, if we're talking about given what the market is, whether or not Lamar Jackson deserves to be paid and deserves to be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL or highest paid player in the NFL, it's no question to me. Zero question to me. This is a guy who, by the way, last year when the Ravens were decimated on the entire team, had no secondary, had no defensive line, had barely an offensive line, had really no one outside of Mark Andrews to throw the ball to. Big respect to Hollywood Brown. He was dropping balls left and right. No running backs at all. Devontae Freeman was the Ravens' leading running back. God bless him, but Devontae Freeman in 2021, come on now. And we want to point to the fact that Lamar Jackson only had 18 touchdowns and 13 interceptions. The team was 8-3, carried that team on his back with virtually no help outside of Mark Andrews, virtually no help. And we're gonna ignore all that, and also ignore the fact that when Lamar goes down for an injury for the first time in his career, the Ravens lose 6 in a row and miss out on the playoffs. Stop it. The dude deserves to get paid. And whether we like it or not, I have my opinions about Deshaun Watson. His contract reset the market, and it inflated it sky high. And depending on who you are, unfortunately, it is what it is now. Because the Browns, as boneheaded as that decision might have been, paid a guy who's suspended for the first 11 games, who is in legal trouble, who many of the fans hate, really hate, and a guy who has not played football. We forget, Deshaun Watson has not played a down of football since 2020. So they paid that guy $230 million. And you take a guy like Lamar Jackson, never been in trouble in his entire life, never had an ounce of trouble. I hate even using the word trouble in Lamar Jackson in the same sense, because it seems like as if I'm justifying something, right? No. This dude has done everything right. Won the MVPs. Led this team to wins. And we're actually thinking about whether or not, given what the market is, he deserves that money. The Ravens should be begging Lamar Jackson, begging him to take $230 million, because that's a steal given what the market is, right? That's a steal. Lamar Jackson's worth like $500 million given what that contract was. And he even said in an interview, I believe with someone from ESPN, can't remember her name, but he even said, he was asked, is it true that the Ravens offered you something around like $200+ million fully guaranteed? And he looked very confused, apparently, and he said, nope, as if to say, if they had, I would have said yes. He's the guy. He is the franchise, Baltimore. He is the franchise. We win with him, and we lose without him. Let's go win some more games. Let's win some Super Bowls with him. Let me know what you guys think about Lamar Jackson's contract situation, though. How messy is it? Is he going to end up leaving in a few years? Let me know in the comment section below. Hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released.